Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Josh and Artemis Show. Today, we are talking about the fact that apparently trans women, aka men's chest milk, is just as good as a woman's breast milk. Uh, let's dig into that because that's just insane. Let's give a baby a bunch of different medication, basically, when they're newborns.
Mm-hmm. That sums it up. I mean, something that we couldn't believe when we read this. I think this story came out a couple of days ago, but it's been non-stop talk about it for the past few days. So we're going to talk about it today on the show. Before we get into this, as usual, guys, if you're new to our channel and you like the things we talk about, subscribe to the channel. It does really help us. We go live every night, 8 p.m. Eastern, bringing you a wide range of topics. The last few days, we have been focusing on this gender stuff, but tomorrow we do have a guest on, which is a different topic altogether. So we're looking forward to him coming on the show tomorrow. We'll post all the details tomorrow during the day, do all the promotion stuff. But it will be 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
For sure. And if you do want to support us that little bit further, you can become a YouTube or Patreon member. You can also donate on buymeacoffee.com. Links are in the description and, of course, in the bio of our homepage on Twitter or on X and on YouTube. We did recently get a new member, Claire. So shout out to Claire if you watch this live or watch the replay for becoming our most recent YouTube member. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Claire. Appreciate you signing up.
Support means a lot to us. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. So let's share our screen and we'll get into this for you. So, yeah, I mean, the headline speaks for itself. This was coming in from the Telegraph, I believe, which is behind a paywall, so I can't actually read the article, but there's been a lot of reaction to this. But the headline speaks for itself, guys. So, trans women's milk, a.k.a. men's milk, as good as breast milk, says the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK, which goes to show you, like we've talked about, feels like a billion times now, how the medical industry, all of these so-called doctors, all of these so-called scientists, all of these so-called experts have been completely corrupted by literally an ideology. They're not living in reality anymore. They're just going off an ideological lie, which should scare every single person in the UK for me, that the NHS can genuinely believe that this is true.
Yeah, it just shows how corrupt these medical practitioners are, and they should have their licenses revoked because, like, for anyone who is breastfed, you're also on like a restricted diet because you have to be very conscious of your baby's stomach and how sensitive they are. You can't, drink. You should avoid all drugs, but also even limit your use of like ibuprofen / paracetamol. For the people in the UK, even very mild things. If you have a headache, you should try to just naturally get over it, because you should be very wary of what you're putting into your baby, because ultimately when you breastfeed, those nutrients go right into your baby. So, to even suggest that you should be totally fine giving your baby all the medications that you'll be taking just to be able to produce some milk for only a certain amount of months. Meanwhile, women can breastfeed, for an extended amount of time if they're successful. Not every woman is, but if you are successful, you can breastfeed over a year, some over 2 years. You can do longer than that. I didn't choose to. I did about just shy of a year and a half for both my girls. It's like, why put yourself on medications when somebody produces it naturally? I don't know.
Because it's trying to fit an agenda, this weird agenda where they're trying to erase women, and now they're trying to erase one of the fundamental rights of a woman, one of the fundamental, great things of being a woman, that you're able to have this bond with your child of, breastfeeding a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And they're trying to erase that now. This is the level of just wrongness. It's just so wrong that
transanity.
But they're trying to normalize this, that basically fake drug-induced milk is just as good as natural milk from a mother. Mm-hmm. That's the level of bullshit we're dealing with now.
Yeah, this is where we're at in 2024.
It's honestly insane, guys, what's going on. But of
It
course,
is.
not really a surprise, because we've said this many times, but this road is a very slippery one. And we're getting to the point now where this is starting to erase these sort of rights for women, but it's also getting into some other dangerous areas for me, which we've talked about before as well, where there's a lot of indications that this road is leading towards normalizing pedophiles and pedophilia. And men breastfeeding babies is literally just a fetish, right?
Yeah,
it really
it's like a
is
fantasy.
It really is just a fetish, because men aren't supposed to breastfeed babies. It's just not.
Never have.
It's just we all know that that's wrong, okay? But now they're trying to normalize that. And you've got to ask why. Why. But anyway, so let's bring you some clips, guys, because we do have some clips about this, talking about the article. So this was coming in from Talk TV today. So this is Julia Brewer, is that right?
Yeah.
And
Partly Brewer.
Yeah, and James Esses, who we've talked about on the show before. He was the undercover psychiatrist who did the investigation into the schools in the UK, exposing the language and the gender affirming practices and mentalities in schools in the UK. So they were talking about this today. So we'll bring you this right now. Yeah.
Can I also ask you about this extraordinary story and again, this is the University Hospital Sussex NHS Foundation Trust. A leaked letter from their medical director has described basically breast milk from a mother, only person who can breastfeed their child. It's all natural. As the same as drug-induced milk from trans women, i.e., men who were given huge amounts of hormones to enable them to lactate, and has described both as human milk and say they are the ideal food for infants, and basically saying they're the same thing. Now, I'm not a medical practitioner. I don't pretend to be. But I know the first thing that I thought of the moment I got pregnant, even before I'd had my child, my number one job is to do the best I can for my child's health and safety in terms of, I had terrible morning sickness, didn't take anything for it. You can't take any risks. Mums who take paracetamol feel guilty. You don't drink, you don't eat, unpasteurized cheese. But yeah, a newborn baby. Why don't we just give a newborn baby the milk of a man who has had huge amounts of hormones and drugs to induce that? And then medical practitioners saying that's okay. This has got to be wrong, hasn't it?
It's just mental.
It's disgusting.
It's just absolutely mental. Like what Julia described there hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
What the NHS are effectively saying here is that it's okay to poison your baby.
Yeah.
That's effectively what they're saying, because what she correctly said there is that when you're like a woman and you're pregnant, there's so many things that you have to avoid because it damages the baby, right?
Yeah, it could be deemed unsafe, things like that.
And what the NHS are saying here is that because they're trans, okay, because they're men pretending to be women, but it's completely fine to give a baby fake induced drug milk. That's what this is. And you just can't believe that these people are doctors. And this is what winds me up about all these trans right activists when they say, "Yeah, I'm just going based on the science." How can you trust this as science?
I know.
This isn't science. This is pseudoscience. It really is pseudoscience, guys.
This is giving your baby drugs.
It's honestly hilarious how people buy into this shit. It really is. It's hilarious how people buy into it. Honestly,
it's honestly
hilarious,
mental and hilarious, but scary as hell. Like, honestly, like, who in their right minds would give drug-induced milk to their newborn children?
No one,
or babies just in general, because like they need it at least for the first year of life, and it's absolutely mental. We also don't have any studies to show long-term effects on these babies because this is brand new. So let's just guess that they're going to be okay. Meanwhile, it might not be the case. And also it's something that a mother does naturally. Why are we trying to take that away from a mother? And, I forget what clip it's another clip we're going to play, but there was an argument that this gives moms a break. It's like, well, I wouldn't feel comfortable passing the baby off to a man full of drugs, like medications galore, to feed the child so I can have a nap. Like that's just not what is going to happen. Like that is not something I would ever be okay with. Not to mention I know you would never do this, but it's just like I wouldn't even, like, that would be so creepy. Like, if a man wants to do this, like, I'm sorry to the men who are dying to do this, but it's creepy and like it's not natural. Like, there's a reason why women produce this naturally. And it's not because of any fetish or anything. It's because we literally bear the children. Our bodies actually grow a whole new organ called the placenta that feeds the baby in the womb. And then when we give birth, our bodies know to automatically produce milk. And do you know how we get a better milk supply is by bonding with the baby and having them close to our chests. It actually induces the milk for the mother and brings in like the nice thick creamy milk instead of just like the watery bit. Like it's just such an insult. And yes, women restrict themselves from, eating raw sushi, which there's new studies that show maybe a little bit is okay, but like deli meats, certain cheeses, you can't have honey. You can't have any any honey for like the first, like anytime you're breastfeeding and when you're pregnant. Like there's sacrifices that women make, but all knowing that it's better for their baby and to protect them. And these are all food. Like this is all like natural foods. Imagine these drugs that are just being put into your breast or into your milk and then being okay giving that to your child. Like it's child abuse. Plain and simple. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts, guys. It really is. Good to see you, Kepsa, in the chat.
Good to see ya.
The Hill YouTube medical journals block research on impact of puberty blockers on kids over political bias, and one more fraudulent scientific study, epidemic destroying credibility of medical research. Check his 2 videos. Check this.
These two videos.
Videos. Yeah,
we'll check it out for sure.
We'll check them out, Kepsa. Appreciate the info, mate. And appreciate you being here, of course.
Yeah, good to see ya.
Right, let's get back to this. We'll see what else they have to say.
Well, let's consider a few things. Firstly, is this going to be of added benefit to these babies? And the answer is clearly not, because since time immemorial, we've produced happy, healthy babies reliant on their mother's breast milk. The second question is this going to be harmful? Now, some people seem to be suggesting that it isn't, that it's basically as good as mother's breast milk. Well, firstly, we cannot say that because there's no long-term studies on any developmental issues or otherwise caused by this, which need to be carried out. But equally, we're forgetting about another purpose of breastfeeding, which is bonding between a mother and a baby. And that could cause untold social developmental issues if we take that away from these babies. So when we look at both of those questions, then we come to, why are we doing this if it's not in the interest of the baby? And the answer is unfortunately very clear, and it is simply to pander to men who believe that they are women and who want to be pumped full of these hormones so that they can experience the joys of breastfeeding. And I would say that we should not be playing roulette with our baby's health and using them as experiments in pandering to men's desires and wishes.
And no good parent.
That is literally spot on from what James said there. We shouldn't be playing roulette with a baby's health. And that is literally what the NHS are doing here by giving experimental drugs, what have had no long-term studies to show the effects of what this can do, just happily to do it. Because like James correctly said there, this is just pandering again to this insane ideology that that men can be women, when it's just completely false.
Yeah.
It just really is completely false. And like we've said a million times, if you want to live your life looking like a woman, fine, but you'll never be one.
Yeah.
You'll never be one. And you can't expect people to just believe you. It's just not going to happen. It literally reminds me of when Jehovah's, when Mormons or whoever turn up at your door demanding that you sign up to their religion.
I know.
It's the same shit. It's like door-to-door sales. These people turn up at your door saying that, you know, do you want to sign up to this and that? Do you want to do this and that? Do you want to sign up to this religion? No. It's exactly the same shit.
It's a cult.
It's advanced door-to-door sales is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And we shouldn't be putting our babies at risk for it. Like, to pander to your whatever desires. Like, it's mental. Like, if you're actually wanting to have a child, you need to put their needs first, not yours. Just because you want to experience it doesn't mean you should, and doesn't mean you can. Being drug induced in order to produce a small amount of milk to feel like a mom. Well, you're not. Like, I'm sorry, you're not. Like, it's absolutely insane to even suggest that it's equal or not harmful as hell to your baby.
Here's the thing. I can guarantee you this. Like, it's probably going to get shut down because the amount of backlash this is going to cause from mothers and
I know, Mothers Unite,
and women is going to be insane.
Yeah, we did get
really is.
A comment on X, but it's on the actual post here from Sir Turfy Hex Esquire, which we always go back and forth with. So good to see you. Said, well said, agreed, but I think we need to really state clearly that this is a sexual fetish. That's why these men want to do it.
Definitely
They want to get erect and ejaculate because of this scenario with an infant.
Ugh,
for sure. And
true.
I mean, it's disgusting. Like, we posted a couple of different clips and stuff today, and loads of comment not in support of this, which is also great to see that there are some sane people out there. But
I did see a couple of comments saying that it was transphobic. It's like,
good. Okay, I mean,
sure.
That term honestly does not. It's almost like a badge of honor, because if that's what it takes to be protecting children and infants, great. Like, bring it on.
I know, like they genuinely think of this, that people are scared of trans people. It's really ridiculous.
I know. Let's not forget what phobic means. Like, you have a phobia of something, meaning you're scared of it. I'm like, why would somebody be scared of a trans person? Like, anyway,
it's crazy.
But
it is,
regardless,
but Sir Turfy was right there. This is a fetish. It's a sexual
It is a fetish.
And
it's like feeding off their desires, like their fantasies of like wanting to be a woman, wanting to do what women do. It's just like, but you're not a woman, okay? Women do not have dicks, okay? And even if you get fake boobs, like, those aren't real, and they don't produce milk naturally, okay? You can pretend all you want, you can drug up all you want, but it's not the same, and it never will be.
Mm-hmm. Right, let's get back to this clip.
Yeah, but good to see you, Cloudy. Hope
Cloudy,
you're doing well.
Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you.
Borderline pedophilia at the point.
It is.
Yeah,
it is
at
Cloudy.
That point. Sorry. Yeah, it is. It is Cloudy, and I mean, I don't know if your partner breastfeeds or not, but I'm sure she wouldn't agree that a man should be breastfeeding. She's not like, Cloudy, you should take these drugs to breastfeed our baby.
But here's the crazy thing, okay? This is another classic example of people like the NHS, like these medical institutions, just going ahead and pushing this stuff through without any evidence, without any long-term study, and without any consultation with women or any consultation with mothers. Like, there's just nothing. It's just, surprise. This is it now.
Men can chest feed, and chest feed is even insulting.
And everyone with two brain cells to rub together knows that this just isn't right. That men should be breastfeeding babies.
Yeah,
it's just not right, guys, and we all know it's not right.
Yeah.
So there's no point in being scared and hiding away, and not having a voice on this, because fundamentally we all know that what this is completely wrong.
Yeah, it's sinister and disturbing.
And you shouldn't be afraid to voice your opinions about this and voice your concerns about it, because everybody needs to be doing it. Everybody needs to be voicing their concerns of this stuff, because if we just let it happen, if we just let things like this happen, what's the next thing?
I know.
What's the next thing? Because only a couple of years ago, only, I don't know, like five years ago, this whole gender conversation wasn't really a thing. And look what's happened.
Yeah.
The last 5 years.
It was around, but it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, we've got men, pretending to be women, going into bathrooms, to women's prisons. women's sports. And now we've got to the point where men are trying to breastfeed babies, right? What's the next step?
I know.
It's a very slippery slope, this, guys.
I mean, I'm sure your imagination can come up with a few scenarios, and they're all pretty fucking grim. Like, people need to wake up and use their voices, even if they think they don't really have a big one. Doesn't matter. Like, you need to call out that this is wrong on every single level. Like, they're not only coming after our children, now they're coming after babies. Like, I mean, the most innocent thing on this planet, like a baby. Like, it's honestly mental. Like, it's disgusting. And no one should stand for it. And again, it's so selfish because, you know, anybody with a brain would think, somebody who naturally produces milk, or give my baby milk that's induced from several different medications, and some which would be toxic to my baby, but apparently it's the same. So, which one should I give? I mean, it should be a no-brainer to every single person.
And it's all
mother's
about
milk.
And it's literally all about this be kind crap and making sure that everybody's inclusive. Even when it comes to breastfeeding babies now, everybody must be included in breastfeeding babies, guys. You know,
sorry, it's a mom's job.
It is honestly insane.
Yeah.
It really is insane that this is where we've got to in 2024, that they're trying to normalize that breastfeeding is for everyone. Right?
It's not.
That's what they're doing.
And I would never call it chest feeding. It's breastfeeding.
It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. Anyway, let's get back to this.
And Cloudy, you're right. Told you, man, we're on the Biff Tannen timeline.
The scary thought, mate, because I've seen Back to the Future 2 a number of times, and it doesn't end well, does it?
No.
No loving parent would do that. That's the key thing. This is about a man wanting to just sort of fulfill his desires, his wants, his needs over that of a child. Well, good parents don't do that. And I'm not saying trans parent can't be a good parent, but a man wanting to do this, I'm sorry, you're not being a good parent. You should be putting your child's health above everything else.
Yeah.
Correct. I couldn't have put it better myself. At the end of the day, they're putting their own needs over those of children. But again, we're causing a wider issue with this. We're propping up this false narrative that men can change sex and become women. You know, don't worry if you were born a male, you can have hormones, you can have surgery, and look, you'll even be able to breastfeed one day as a mother does. And we're propping up this false narrative that is the fundamental base of gender ideology, and that goes against our reality.
No, again, and everything ends up, it's always the children who end up being at the bottom of the pile on this. Can I also ask you, you talk about, what is a woman? Like, you know what woman is, I know what woman is. Even Keir Starmer pretends to know, but apparently thinks that 0.1% of us have penises, which, again, yet to see that in a changing rooms, but there we are. But it's interesting, J.K. Rowling has donated £70,000 to a feminist group, For Women Scotland, a fantastic group, to help their bid to obtain they say call an historic Supreme Court ruling, stating that men cannot become women, something you and I know perfectly well. She's the Harry Potter authors pledged the cash as they go to the highest court in the UK in this very long-running legal battle with the Scottish government over what the definition is of a woman.
Yeah, we'll bring you that story another time. So that's what they've talked about in regards to the NHS and men breastfeeding,
chest feeding,
breastfeeding, whatever you want to call it, babies. Good to see you, Ashley.
Yeah, good to see you.
Like the teenagers that are transitioning, the babies cannot consent to male breastfeeding either.
No.
Yeah, they can't. They've got no choice. And
imagine,
and like they correctly said in the clip just there, what these men are doing is putting their own needs and fetishes ahead of, the health of their own kid.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They don't have any regard for their baby's safety or health. All they care about is, satisfying their urges and
their desires
and this weird, creepy fetish to breastfeed a baby.
Like,
it's honestly,
imagine learning that when you're older, that your dad tried to breastfeed you or chest feed you. Oh God, that would be disgusting.
Well,
I'd be really grossed out.
We're heading for a very dangerous, it's dangerous enough, but what's going on with women and kids now, with this indoctrination with schools and the sexualizing of kids and all this, but it's going to get even weirder if we're not careful. And things like this get me very concerned, because what's the next thing? If this is trying to be normalized, that they're trying to normalize, giving unproven drugs to babies through men, breastfeeding them. I mean, just that statement alone is crazy, right? What's the next thing they're going to do? What's the next thing they're going to try and normalize,
No, like,
and again, we all know this is wrong. We all know this is wrong. And, everybody on the street, if you ask them, would say that this is wrong.
Yeah.
They really would. And this is the whole point of this, because all of these people know that the overwhelming majority of people in the public know that women don't have dicks, right? That's the majority opinion of people. Okay.
Yeah.
There's obviously a small minority of people in the context of the world who believe women do have dicks. Okay. But that doesn't reflect the general population.
No.
Okay. Now, like we've seen time and time again, what these people do is push this through without any consultation with anybody, because they know that if they do have any consultation on this, none of this will get pushed through.
No.
And you've got to ask yourself why they're pushing this through without any consultation, without any long-term studies of the effects of giving babies these drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they willing to put, babies at risk?
I know. They really don't want people to reproduce anymore. That's what it is.
That's what it feels like
to
me.
Let's kill the babies and let's make sure we sterilize as many children as we can to depopulize the world.
It feels like there's some sort of bigger agenda going on. It could be that. It could be that, because
what else? Can you even I don't know what else it could be other than to make sure that we're not populating the world the next generation.
It doesn't make any sense.
Or limiting it to only a certain amount of people. It's mental. What other reason could they have to want to push this onto babies and to children? The agenda, of course, is also money, but otherwise, you have to think, okay, well, what else? Obviously money, because there's always money. What else could it be? And that has to be one of the factors. This is a way to just sneak in there and depopulize people, because these children who get puberty blockers won't be able to reproduce. And so there's one set, and then the ones who do, let's make sure that they're chest feeding, so that way these babies, I don't know, either have complications or die or grow with very terrible defects, diseases. Who knows what is going to come of this?
Who knows what the long-term effects are? And that's the point of all this. They're willing to put babies at risk, to pander to this weird agenda, which we're seeing the last few years. I thought we were heading to a population decline without all this nonsense. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's what they've been talking about for a while. This depopulation. Apparently it's a conspiracy theory, but
but maybe they're just planting the seeds, and this is how they're kind of executing it, is through all these different avenues, and because they're using multiple ways.
Look at all these
people won't trace them back. I don't know.
Well, look at all these excess deaths, which we're seeing across the world now. From this vaccine, it looks like the COVID vaccine, what people warned us about. I
actually just saw
during the pandemic, and now we're seeing a lot of people talk about it on mainstream news now. I mean, we saw in the UK a few days ago.
This is just in, actually.
Hang on a second. We saw in, I think it was Question Time or the Prime Minister's Questions last week in County Durham in the UK. Rishi Sunak got asked a question by this guy who was injured by the vaccine, right? And it went viral. It was all over the place. And he said, I mean, that nobody's talking about this. And there's so many people now who have been injured from these COVID vaccines, which it's just clear as day. But and then when you look at the stats of all these excess deaths, what nobody can explain in all of these major countries who were forcing the vaccine, you know, there's definitely a problem with these vaccines. And lo and behold, I mean, it's not really a surprise because again, they pushed this through so quickly because there was no long-term studies, there was no long-term research, and these vaccines were made in the blink of an eye. It takes like at least 10 years to produce the vaccine, and they produced it in less than a year. I mean,
a few months.
What did we expect to happen? You know?
Well, the largest and most up-to-date global vaccine safety study conducted has found a link between COVID-19 vaccine and heart, blood, and brain-related health issues.
I saw that earlier.
It's worth noting that this story, despite its controversial nature, was reported on by mainstream outlets such as Bloomberg, the New York Post, and the study was produced by a WHO-affiliated research network. So yeah, it's linked to brain and heart conditions, backed by a WHO-affiliated network. So who knows what else is gonna come from that? Basically,
it's very creepy how since COVID, effectively, and this is what Dr. Hein was saying on our show when we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He was saying that since COVID, the medical industry has been corrupted by an ideology, and it's not. You know, doctors, the medical industry, they're going against the very basic duties of care, what they're supposed to give to a patient. And they're going through with all these procedures, all of these new ways of working without any proof or, you know, without any proof to back any of this up. They're just pandering to all of these ideologies now, which don't make any sense at all to a rational, sane person. You know, they just don't. And you've got to wonder what's going on, you know, because obviously this stuff is going on. I mean, we're talking about a story here where men can breastfeed using drug-induced milk. You've got to ask why that's even a thing. You know, why are we even having to talk about this in 2024 that, you know, men can do this now, you know? And I'm not going to call them anything else because they are men. Okay,
they're men.
They are men, and we need to normalize facts again because I'm sick and tired of living in this fake bloody reality. I really am.
So
right,
it's a simulation. Delete it.
Let's move on to the next clip. We've got some more clips to bring you guys. Yeah, so this you posted this today, didn't you? So let's make this bigger and read your comment first.
Wait, here. You mean here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So men cannot breastfeed. Taking a multitude of medications to be able to is dangerous for babies. Why are we putting newborns through this? My guess is they provided samples from the mother to affirm what they're doing is okay when it certainly is not. Women make breast milk naturally, and whoever these experts are who conducted this study should be removed for malpractice. Agree? Well, I agree with all this, of course. Stop coming after our children now, our babies. They should not be indoctrinated into this sinister cult ideology. End of. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy they're coming after babies now as well.
Yeah, I feel like I wrote, was it on here? Yeah, like, and people who say that, you know, medication, you know, who says it's unsafe? It's like, yeah, there's actually been a lot of medication. I went through a whole multitude of them that are now banned, but they were deemed safe at the time. So a big example was actually thalidomide, which was actually given to women in the 1950s when they were nauseous and, you know, pregnant, and it was deemed safe at the time. However, it caused many birth defects, and so they had to ban this drug. And so sometimes when you think something is safe, later on, especially as science evolves and we evolve, we find out that certain drugs are not safe. So why are we putting these medications into children, babies, when we don't even know what's going to happen to them? Like, you're taking a healthy newborn child, instead of just giving it mother's milk, like we have done since the beginning of time, literally, we're just now deciding that men should get all these drugs and can chest feed. It's just like, it's an insult to our intelligence, and it's also an insult to mothers and, you know, women who are capable of producing breast milk. And I know that not every woman, you know, some women have trouble breastfeeding, but the fact is that that's something that's something that a woman can do and not a man. Whether there's other complications around it, that's, you know, sometimes that happens.
They're just trying to erase women.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
And obviously trying to abuse kids and babies. But anyway, let's press play.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Ash, and welcome to
Quiet.
LGBTQ+ research. Today's video.
Hold on, I'll replay it.
Hi, my name's Ash, and welcome to LGBTQ+ birth research. Today's video signposts a case study where breast milk produced by a trans woman after she successfully induced lactation was analysed for its nutritional qualities. This study centres a trans woman who successfully breastfed her baby. She induced lactation via hormone therapy, using domperidone as a galactagogue, breast pumping, and then directly breastfeeding her infant. She co-fed with her partner, the baby's gestational parent, meaning the parent who carried the pregnancy, for the infant's first 4 months of life. The decision to stop breastfeeding was maternal choice. The medical management of how lactation was induced, including medications, dosages, and timings, are outlined in the study. For milk analysis, the mother provided 4 samples of frozen expressed breast milk, and each sample was collected approximately 1 month apart. All samples were warmed, hand agitated, and analysed using a form of infrared spectroscopy. All samples were run twice, and a mean result was generated. When compared with average nutritional values of breast milk expressed by cisgender women 10 to 12 weeks after delivery, values that were taken from a large systematic review of milk analysis, these breast milk samples showed nutritional values that were equal to or higher for fat, protein, lactose, and calories. Alongside this analysis, the study includes details of the mother's experience of breastfeeding her baby. She describes it as both, quote, emotionally fulfilling and pragmatic, and talks about the positive benefits for her partner too, including her.
I love how I'm going to call him a he. I don't think, is this a woman or a man?
I think it's a woman.
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Okay, but like they literally described this man as a mother.
I know.
Those were the words they just used there. You know, they're like it's literally a man. Why are these people saying that a man is a mother?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, press play. I just had to get that out of the system.
No.
The paper concludes, and this is a long quotation, these findings provide reassurance about the adequacy of nutrition from human milk produced by non-gestational, transgender female and non-binary parents on estrogen-based, gender-affirming hormone therapy, and support the importance of this experience on a personal level, end quote. Family structures are evolving, and healthcare professionals should be able to support non-gestational parents who wish to breast or chest feed their infants. Trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people should be included in research on lactation. Tailored support for...
So are
Why
women now who give birth just called the gestational parent?
Mm-hmm.
Because you would be the non-gestational parent, so I'd be the gestational parent. Like, can we not just fucking say mother and father, like mom and dad? Like, I am so sick of this. Like, just erasing, like, human history, like what we are fundamentally created to do, whether you choose to have kids or not. Like, you can have the choice of not, but fundamentally, like, these are our functions. Like, these are part of who we are as humans. Like, you don't see any animals complaining about this stuff. Like, fuck.
Animals
they're so, like, they just know exactly what they are, who they are, what they do. Like, it's like, sometimes, honestly, we're getting to a point where we envy fucking animals. Sorry for swearing, but like, it's just so mental that, like, yeah, you look at an animal, it's like, man, like, they know that that's a woman and this is a man, and this is their function, and like everything's all good. Like you don't see a male cat trying to trying to get, you know, their kittens to suck their teats. Like, you know, they just know what's going on. They know what's what.
To me, it's just people.
Ugh.
It's people like trying to create things what shouldn't be created, and trying to create issues where there aren't any issues. I mean, why do they have to do this? Why do they have to make this big song and dance about men being able to breastfeed now? Like, why?
I know.
You know, like, why can't you just, why can't we just go how we've done it for thousands of years, where women breastfeed babies?
Yeah.
And it's been completely fine up until the last few days. Right? Literally the last few days.
Sudden,
all of a sudden,
very disappointed.
All of a
NHS.
sudden, we must include men into this now. We must include everybody into breastfeeding babies. It's
thank you.
It's honestly incredible how this is even a whole thing now.
If you are somebody who
great comment from Ashley there.
Who
from
yeah, I actually posted that.
Meet the Parents.
Meet
the Parents.
And you know, another scene that that reminded me. I don't know if you guys watched this episode of Family Guy, but like, Peter, for some reason, I forget the whole episode though, but like, Peter is like kind of like playing this like mom role ish, and Stewie wakes up in the middle of the night sucking on Peter's Peter's boob or moob, and like finds like a hair, and he just like takes down. He's like, and he like is so horrified that he like just crawls into his crib, and he's just horrified because he like was just sucking on Peter's like man boob.
That will be all these like, babies for sure.
Yeah, because babies will be looking up, and they hardly have any vision when they're born, but they'll see like a blurry, disfigured man with a wig and some lipstick and a weird dress, and they'll be like, I'm your new mommy, and they'll be like, like, honestly, it's gonna be horrific. Like, it's so mental. It's so mental. Yeah, poor Stewie. Yeah, he was mortified. He was like, that episode was really funny thinking back, and it was very true. Doctors are also hiding safety concerns from parents regarding their teen use, drugs use, gender, STDs, etc. Good to see you, Mariska. And totally agree. Like, and you know, in like we've seen multitudes of like clips or articles and people also just sharing their own personal stories of what's happening in certain schools around like America, like Canada, I'm sure in the UK as well, I'm sure in Australia as well. But you know, it's not every single school, but a multitude of schools, you know, basically being encouraged to keep this stuff away from parents and to like socially transition these children to, you know, if children want to talk, to bring them to like the like school counselor and stuff. Like, that is absolutely mental. And again, you're trying to erase even just having parents. Like, this is why we compare it so much to a cult, is because in a cult situation, they want to isolate you from your friends and family, basically people who can bring you into reality.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to brainwash you and have you believe that this is like your only way out. This is your only like option. And, you know, don't confide in your parents, don't confide in family or friends, anybody, because they'll just try to, you know, steer you off path.
And also trust the science.
Yeah.
As well, that's the other thing. Trust the science with all these bogus stats and all these.
You've got to believe. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all like praying to the like trans flag here. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised.
Didn't you see that clip I posted on X the other day of that baby? Not baby, like,
oh yeah.
Let's bring that up.
Yes,
actually, let's bring that up.
I did see that.
Don't. Yeah.
No,
so
I'm
just go into our profile from this tab, because we played that clip now. Okay. Yeah, and then if you scroll down, I posted it. I think it was yesterday.
Well, is there like a keyword I could just search?
No, just keep going. I'll tell you when.
All right. I probably should have just gone to media.
That's fine. Keep going. There.
Oh yeah.
This one. So this was from a TV series, guys. So I think it was a couple of years ago now. So from HBO series Transhood, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a ritual thing in this TV series Transhood, okay? So in the clip, a boy is brought up to an altar and is then presented as a girl by his mother. It's evident in the clip the child hasn't got any idea what he's doing or what any of this means.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sinister cult. It is. This
Yeah.
is one of the most culty things that you'll ever see in regards to this gender stuff, right? Let's play this.
Good morning. Today we choose to recognize, honor, love, and celebrate anyone here who would claim their identity publicly as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, pansexual, asexual, or any category that I've left out. This is Phoenix.
I'm really sorry.
You're a little shy. Do you want to tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl?
I just want to tell them that I'm a girl.
Okay, you can tell them that. Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
This way.
May you be well, safe, and whole. We honor you exactly as you are.
How insane is that, guys?
So creepy.
It was like some sort of a ritual, like a cult
Yeah.
ritual with the flower, with the altar, with the, I don't even know what you describe this woman who's got the stupid
Well, like she
stuff
looks
on.
like a priest of some kind. So I mean,
some sort of a priest. But anyway, and this is what I'm saying, it's a very pseudo-religious cult, this.
yeah.
It's it's like Scientology. That's what it reminds me of. It
Yeah.
reminds me of something like that, like a Scientology kind of cult thing. It really does. This whole thing reminds me of that, because anyone who speaks out against it is abused left, right, and center. Anyone who comes out of it, aka a detransitioner, is abused, right?
Mhm.
Is insulted, is attacked. It plays out exactly the same as any other cult. It really does.
Where was it that you shared this?
And if you don't believe whatever I believe, you're a Nazi bigot, right wing clown or whatever, and that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when people say you're transphobic, I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
It really doesn't even
I
faze
could
me.
not care less. I really
Being
couldn't.
transphobic is protecting children and babies, then great. We'll do that. And protecting women's spaces, female sports, again, all for it. So
There are far more pressing issues like eliminating violence against women, not adding to it. Completely agree.
yeah, it
Marika.
just reminded me of this post from
Oh
today
yeah,
as well.
someone sent us this today.
So
didn't
I
they?
just thought about it.
Yeah, we got sent this today. It was very interesting. So rates of sexual offending 16 and above. So this is in England and Wales based on 2021 census. So prison and FOI data. So updated. So it was updated. So this date, it was updated on the 15th of June, 2023. So as you can see, guys, right? Males identifying as women clearly caused the most assaults.
Yeah.
Stuff which we already know, and stuff which we went through with Aslan on the show last night, this bloody debate.
Whoever suffered through that headache.
But this is what I'm saying. You don't even need to be a statistician or a genius to know that this stuff is openly going on. We've all seen the countless examples all over the place of women being assaulted by trans women, aka men. We see it all the fucking time.
Let's say it again. Trans women are
see it.
men.
We literally see this every single day, right? And he is just a great example of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This clearly shows that it's a problem.
Yeah.
Of course,
so the point of, well, it's men who are assaulting women. It's like, yeah, we know. And guess what? Trans women are men. They're not women, they're men. Okay. So if you live in reality, like most people do, you'll know that. And if you don't, well, then good luck. Because
yeah, and also if like you look in the fine print there, it says excluding other trans identities. So this is specifically men identifying as women, not the other way around, of course. You know,
of course.
This is what I'm saying. And this is why you don't even need to like bring up any stats, because of course it's fucking true.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy.
One in 3 women get assaulted.
It's just crazy to be this naive to not believe that trans women, aka men, are assaulting women. It's just a fact. It's just a stone cold fact, and you can choose to deny it. Up to you, but you're not living in reality at the end of the day.
No, because if trans women again wanted to just compete in sports because they love the sport so much, they would be fine with either playing with their biological sex or actually signing up to these trans categories that have been made for these people who don't sign up. Literally no one signs up, but instead they go into the women's category just to take away medals, sponsors, what's it called, scholarships, like titles away from women. It gets so obvious. Like these men just want to dominate women and erase us. Like it's so obvious, especially the more you look into this. And you know, some women, you know, just sit back and think, yeah, this is great. Most women do not agree with this. And then the young girls, what is this saying to them? That they don't matter and that we should just be accommodating these trans women instead of actual women and girls who want to compete in fair sport and not get injured. Like it's just mental. It really is.
It's common sense that this is a thing. And if you look at the numbers, it's more than double.
Yeah.
It's more than double.
This is funny. The cult left out straight. I thought they were all about all inclusion.
Yeah.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yes, they did. Yeah. So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need a bunch of statistics to show you what you already know. And as a woman, you already know how you feel when you're in a washroom, a public washroom especially. And then now that trans women, aka men, can go in these washrooms, it's like your fear level goes more and more. And yeah, I stand by what I said yesterday, how if I was in the washroom taking my girls there as well, I would walk right back out and drive anywhere else to let them use the washroom, or just drive right back home. Like what's the point?
This is crazy. Josh, let's build a time machine out of a Vauxhall Nova and rectify all the wrongs of the last 50 years or so. Put it all back to normal. The world we were promised as kids. Mate, I would love to go on a time journey with you in a Vauxhall Nova. For sure. We'll bring some snacks. We'll bring some beers, mate. We'll bring some snacks along.
Yeah, just make sure we're in the current timeline, like me and your partner as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to make sure we're accurate and come back to the correct timeline for sure.
Yeah, you better.
We'll mess up the space-time.
Yeah, just picked up
continuum. Is that what it is? The space-time continuum?
Continuum, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to finish this?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we'll play this. We'll play this.
Some transgender women.
Oh, let me tell you who this man is, first of all. So this is a man, okay? Julia Malott, who's a journalist writing
Very true, Mariska. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was like, don't forget the ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that clip, Marika, what you're talking about there, the one with the ceremony, it very much reminds me of a sacrificing kid thing in ancient times as well. It does remind me of that.
Like I mentioned this today, and then we'll press play. But honestly, like when you think of everything going on, coming after children, coming after babies, doing these creepy Frankenstein surgeries onto people who have like so many complications for basically the rest of their lives, like all of these things that we're doing, it's like a whole season of American Horror Story. Like that's what it reminds me of. Like I said it earlier today just to Josh, and I was just like, honestly, like this is like an episode or a season of American Horror Story, and I just want it to end. Like this is so sinister and disturbing and scary. It's even scarier because it's real life and this is actually going on. And when you see like photos of these surgeries yourself, like it's pretty messed up. And yeah, like
we've all seen them, but this is the
like-
thing. TRAs, trans rights activists, refuse to believe that these surgeries even go on.
Yeah. And then they refuse to listen to detransitioners of this as if they don't exist.
Even though that they're literally saying that gender affirming care, right? AKA removing breasts and putting putting pause on someone's puberty, but they're actively campaigning for it, but yet they deny that surgeries actually happen. So they're just
that there's complications.
Yeah, so they're just talking contradictions of their own points, effectively.
And then they say puberty blockers, it's just like putting a pause. No, it's not. Actually, there's going to be lifelong consequences to going on puberty blockers. It's not just a pause. Even if you do stop taking them, you've already sterilized yourself. Your your bones wouldn't have grown to full potential either. So you'll have weak bones, nerve damage all around your body. You'll have a lower IQ because your brain has not fully developed either. Like there's a lot of things that are going to impact you for the rest of your lives. And also just the side effects of taking these drugs that are not that were not made for just puberty blocking. They were made for so many other reasons other than that. Yeah. And so it's just like, it's laughable when these people try to say that like, it's just a little pause. It's not a pause. Like you shouldn't try to stop your own biological, like natural process that every human goes through. But anyway.
Yeah, right. So this is Julia Malott. So she is a journalist. He is a journalist who writes for the National Post. Okay. Mm. So they've been commenting on this whole breastfeeding story and effectively, just basically talking down to women as usual, what these men do, and claiming that they know best when they actually don't. So let's press play.
Yep.
Some transgender women can most definitely produce breast milk in some cases. That is dependent on years of hormones and good breast development. It's certainly not a given, but those individuals acting like it's impossible are just wrong. And there are some studies, such as the ones that NHS references, that do suggest that the quality of breast milk is good. But it's an under-researched area, and there are also studies that have pointed to potential nutrition concerns. This is something that we should research more. But as we do so, we should also consider this complexly. There are tons of things that lead to lower quality breast milk, like caffeine and energy drinks, and alcohol and nicotine and other drugs. And there are plenty of options that also don't involve solely breastfeeding a child from a trans woman's breast milk. See, what is blatantly transphobic, and yes, I will use that word here, about the outrage over transgender women breastfeeding is that plenty of biological females make bad choices while breastfeeding, and we allow them to do this. And just by the numbers, that is a much
and we allow them to do this. Can you believe the arrogance of this prick? No. Like, I'm going to call him this. He's a prick.
Yeah.
He's one of these selfish, misogynist pricks.
Yeah.
Who thinks he knows best.
Yeah. You just allow these women to do this.
When in reality, he's literally a man telling women how to breastfeed.
Yeah.
He's got no idea.
I mean, yeah, of course.
I don't have any idea, but you do.
Well, yeah, but of course, like, not everybody should be a parent. I mean, that is obvious. Like, hello, look at what we're looking at today. Like, not everybody should be a parent. Of course, we're not going to say that every single woman makes the best choices for their children. Just like we could say that about dads. Not every dad makes the best choices for their children, And so to just say it in such a way that's very like, we know better than you do because we're men and we're just playing dress up like a woman. And now we can take breastfeeding away from you because we'll do it better. Will you? We'll see. I doubt that. Not without all these drugs in your body to even produce any milk. And it's also not a guarantee, even what they just said, that some trans women can breastfeed or chest feed. So it's like it's not even guaranteed. So you're just kind of again playing roulette that will you be able to kind of nourish your child or will you not? Will you just put all these drugs into them and then you'll be like you'll have to stop breastfeeding? Like it's just so stupid. Meanwhile, a woman can do it naturally without having to take all these drugs.
Mhm.
And yeah, women also know, by the way, that you should limit your caffeine intake. I had to go on freaking decaf and only have like 1 cup a day. It sucked, especially when you're sleep deprived. But guess what? You do those things. Women spend hours researching this information, talking to their doctors, talking to lactation professionals like lactational nurses and going to appointments. I did all that stuff. Like you also talk to your friends and if any of your friends have babies already and like what their experiences were, what worked for them, what didn't. You have so many different factors that women spend hours researching that men, I guess, will just have to learn on the fly about that. But it's just like it's just insulting. I don't know how else to say it. It's insulting and it's child abuse. End of.
Yeah. And I completely agree. Cloudy with a great comment.
For sure.
Yeah. And the one above it, it's difficult to watch and take seriously, isn't it? Yeah, it is, mate. That's how I feel about every single time I have to, because we obviously have to post clips and talk about stuff on this show. And whenever I see one of these things on X or the news, it literally just, it's the same reaction every single time, Cloudy. I just can't believe what the hell I'm seeing, The percentage is highest for
SA by men IDing as women.
Sexual assault.
Oh, sexual assault, yeah. By men IDing as women, and as their numbers rise, so will the number of assaults.
Correct.
For sure.
Yeah, and this
that's the thing.
This is the thing. I mean, you're going to see a big difference, and like give it like a couple of years, you're going to see some very scary numbers when it comes to this stuff. You can get you can guarantee it because how often have we talked about this on this show? How many cases have we just brought you guys? And that's only a small fraction as to what we see on online. I mean,
there's a lot more that we go through.
We see so much during the day, but obviously we can only talk about so much on this show. But there's so many instances of trans women, aka men, assaulting women. It's just endless.
Yeah.
And there's countless examples now of people in prominent positions within the LGBT community, who are organizers at events, such as Pride, and they're being caught with child porn. There's so many cases now of trans people, getting caught with child porn. But they're assaulting kids, that they're assaulting, I think there's one the other day I saw they were assaulting an infant. In fact, I think it was Germany that they assaulted a baby, this trans woman, aka a man, and the judge gave him a slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
slap on the wrist.
Normalize it, which is just disgusting.
A slap on the wrist. And this is what I'm saying. Like this normalization of sexualizing kids, this normalization of pedophile behavior. It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And this whole breastfeeding thing falls into that for me.
Yeah.
That they're trying to normalize babies, sucking on male nipples.
Disgusting.
But they're trying to normalize this, and we've already seen some examples over the last few days of trans people basically admitting that they get off on this. But they get off on this sort of stuff, that it makes them aroused. It couldn't be more obvious that this is a fetish.
Yeah,
it's a sexual fetish.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Stay the hell away
because
from babies.
Everybody knows that this just isn't right. Okay, and that's not saying that trans people shouldn't be people. Okay, I'm not saying that, because like we've always said, I don't have any issues with trans people. I never have. I never will. You can live your life how you want, but when you start doing stuff like this, when you start sexualizing kids, when you start going into female spaces, when you start going into female sports, then there's a problem, because you're eroding away basic rights of people. It's
women,
of women, of children,
but of children too. Yeah.
and it's just not acceptable. And anyone with a brain knows that it's not acceptable.
Mhm.
You know, and that's not saying that trans people don't have a right to, you know, to have a life, because of course they do. We've never said that we hate trans people ever.
No,
But
and
what we've always said is when it starts to encroach on women's rights, on children's rights, and when we see constantly now these patterns of trans women assaulting women, right? AKA men assaulting women, then you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's not right. You know, it's just not right, guys. Simple as that.
yeah.
Yeah. Completely
Pretty
agree,
much.
mate. And it's just scary how people are just you know, there's people in this world who are just openly okay with men going to female spaces, that they're okay with, you know, all of these weird things about sexualizing kids in schools. It's just so crazy how we're even having to talk about this stuff in 2024. I just can't believe how we've even got here as a society where we're having to fight for basic rights and you know, for women, and the basic rights to protect children.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't believe that we're even here as a
Yeah.
society. It's all about telling women anything you can do, we can do better.
Yeah.
For Sean, Marika, and this is another, and this whole breastfeeding thing is another example of that. Like we said at the start of the show, they're trying to erase this fundamental, unbreakable bond between a mother and a baby, and that's, you know, with this breastfeeding where you develop this bond, and it's something what is unique to being a woman.
Mhm.
And it's honestly creepy as fuck how they're trying to get their little tentacles into things like this now as well. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
And it's not right.
No.
It's not right at all. But anyway, we'll leave it there, guys.
What about this video?
Oh, fine, we'll play it.
Bigger problem than the occasional trans woman breastfeeding. Because let's actually think about this. It's an uphill battle for a transgender woman to breastfeed. It's time and effort and money, not unlike that of females who end up needing to work with lactation consultants to get breastfeeding to happen. And unlike some angry people on the internet, we have better things to do than spend every day thinking about breastfeeding. But the vitriol and dehumanizing comments I've seen around this topic, it's concerning. Why are other people so invested in someone else's breastfeeding decisions? My mere mention that it is technically possible, while acknowledging some of the risks.
I mean, first of all, this man is complaining that there's other people judging them on their breastfeeding decisions. Welcome to being a woman where you're also judged on how you breastfeed, if you breastfeed, if you're bottle feeding instead, if you're pumping, if you're going back to work and only pumping and not breastfeeding, like it, like actual to the breast, like instead of giving them bottles, like women are judged for every little detail of what goes on when they're taking care of their child. And this person is complaining that people are looking at it like, well, you're giving them all this different drugs in this milk when a mother can do it herself. It's like, yeah, I mean, get used to it. At least moms are trying to do their best. These men who are trying to chest feed are literally being selfish and only doing it to fulfill their own desires and not the actual needs of the baby. Like, yeah, moms do stress about how much milk they're producing, if their milk supply is low, and you know what they're eating, if there's babies crying a lot, maybe they have a stomach ache, what they're doing. It's just like, it's endless that goes on. There's like a mental list, and any woman listening to this who has ever breastfed will be like, yep, oh my god, yes, and it was fucking annoying, but we did it because we knew it was the best thing for the baby. But it's just like, it's so insulting. Like it's actually mental. Fuck's sake.
resulted in some of the most obscene comments towards me that I've ever received. Comments suggested that I have a sexual and pedophilic pleasure at the thought of my unborn child sucking on my nipple. And I last discussed this topic like 8 months ago, and it comes up again and again as people try to brand me over and over on this. But you know what? That's most of the debates we're having on transgender matters right now. People present as being very concerned about the children the moment that transgender matters enters the conversation, and yet they overlook similar concerns, like induced lactation from dopamine in biological women that occurs at rates dozens and dozens of times higher in the non-transgender community.
Let's just end the show. I can't deal with these people anymore today.
Well, we are done, and this comment sums it up.
I can't deal with any more of these clowns today. Honestly, I can't. Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in. Yeah, another fucked up story to bring you, and I'll tell you what, it's getting tiring. It really is, because I can see the trajectory of where this is going, and it's going to get a lot darker than this.
Yeah,
it really is, guys. It really is. Someone needs to come in and put a stop to all of this quick.
Yeah,
but they really do.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
anyway,
yeah.
But anyway, thanks so much, guys. We will be back tomorrow. We do have a guest on tomorrow, talking about human trafficking. So again, a messed up story, but a bit different from what we're talking about today, but still a messed up story. So they're going to come on tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. So we'll bring you that tomorrow, same time as usual, 8 p.m. Eastern. We were supposed to have April Hutchinson on today, but she called us this morning, said she wasn't feeling well, so she's going to come on.
And had other things going on,
yeah,
too.
and she had some other stuff going on today, but she'll be on Thursday. So she'll be coming on Thursday for us, and then on Friday we have another guest coming on the show as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so we do have a busy week of guests for sure, but we're really excited.
Yeah.
Some really great guests coming up. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. We do work tirelessly behind the scenes for the show. So make sure if you're watching this that you do like, share, subscribe.
Oh yeah, like, share, subscribe, guys.
Follow us on X.
Yeah.
We're nearly at 5,000 on X, which is pretty cool. So follow us there. We do post a lot on there, and we're very active on there. Also, if you do want to support the show and what we're doing, please become a YouTube or Patreon member, or donate on buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description, of course, and on our homepage on X and YouTube. If you're watching the replay, you can also donate a super thanks. That's pretty cool too. And for everybody else, just make sure you keep coming back, because like Josh said, we go live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Josh is done. Don't blame you. Yeah, I know.
There's honestly a line, Cloudy, and it's this has crossed the line for me today. And
shall we talk about UFO? I don't know, that we were just comparing the cult of trans with the cult of UFOs offline. Actually,
it honestly,
it's very similar once you look into it.
It reminds me very much of that, Cloudy. We've talked about this before behind the scenes, but it reminds me of that believer versus skeptic whole thing.
Yeah,
it really does remind me of that.
When you actually think about it, Cloudy, I think you're going to realize that it's true. You can't convince people who are total believers and are so deep into it, because it's like a cult. Same thing with these trans people who are so deep, they don't actually realize that they're not living in reality anymore. So,
but yeah, I mean, who knows? We might talk about UFOs at some point.
I don't know.
If there's anything interesting.
If there's anything interesting, I mean, I don't even, we don't keep up with it, so we don't know. But anyway, guys, we will be back tomorrow night with our special guest. We'll announce it on X. So make sure you guys check it out, and we'll post the show tomorrow, of course. So make sure you turn on notifications.
Absolutely. See you tomorrow.
Have a good night, everybody.